The Journey Beneath the System by Swapnil Saurav.
2. Looking for opportunities. Charvi sat up on her bed and spoke with a shaky voice. What was that? A gunshot, Aarav replied. A gunshot? Here? In this city? Asked Faiyaz, squinting in the darkness. I guess it's no safer than our home, said Aarav. Evil is everywhere. Why do you have to be so gloomy? Questioned Faiyaz. I'm just realistic, was the response. Oh no. Oh no. The sound of rapid, panicked breathing in the room started getting louder. Aarav turned towards the hyperventilating girl. Charvi, calm down. We are on the 3rd floor. The sound came from the street. We are okay. Charvi took some deep breaths. Okay. We are okay. She repeated to herself. Where's Bhavin? Asked Faiyaz suddenly. Here, said a muffled voice. The other two looked around. In the currently scarce light, it was not possible to see the figure of their friend. Bhavin? Asked Charvi. Aarav stood up, walked to Bhavin's bed and knelt. Then he put his arm under the bed and pulled something from below. It was Bhavin's pillow. Hey, give it back, said his voice from where the pillow had been. Wow, that was some fast reaction, said Faiyaz. I didn't know you were a coward. A coward? Yelled Bhavin, getting out of his shelter. I was taking cover. It's a strategy. A strat-eggy. MHM, Aarav replied. What? You don't believe me? Aren't people supposed to drop to the ground if there's a shooting? Bhavin argued. MHM, Aarav repeated, not paying much attention to him. Didn't you hear Aarav? We are on the 3rd floor, man, said Faiyaz, turning on his lamp. Aarav quickly pointed at it. Don't. You'll draw attention, he said. Faiyaz frowned. Guys, you're all overreacting. We are far enough to be safe. Seriously, we're not even sure it was a gunshot, he adduced, walking towards the window. Charvi held her breath as he put his hand on the curtain to move it and look down. I mean, it could have been just fireworks or... Faiyaz's voice faded to the sound of another gunshot, apparently not far from the hotel building. The hand drawing the curtain loosened its grip, letting it return to its original position. He stood there, mute and frozen. Aarav placed his hand on Charvi's mouth to prevent her from screaming. A second later, a third one of those terrifying sounds was heard. Then everything went silent. Faiyaz took a step back, then another. His hand clumsily searched for the lamp cord, pulled it and turned it off. Silence reigned for who knows how long until it was clear to everyone that whatever had just happened was over. Bhavin's head popped from under the bed once again. Hey, people. Is everyone alright? He asked. Yes. Charvi's voice replied from somewhere close. Do you think we should call the reception and ask? Wondered Faiyaz. Not now, said Aarav. Tomorrow. Now we should sleep. Aarav? Can I sleep in your bed? I'm too scared to sleep alone right now, confessed Charvi. Sure, he said. The sound of feet crossing the room was followed by the bed creaking under the extra weight. What are you doing here too, Bhavin? Whispered Charvi. Giving you support, of course. You'll feel a lot better with bodyguards to protect your sleep, was his bold answer. Faiyaz snorted. Admit it. You're just as scared as she is, he said. His voice didn't sound particularly brave, though. He laughed weakly a few times. Within 10 minutes, he was in the same bed as the other three. Good night, Aarav said in a natural tone. Faiyaz silently thanked him for not making fun of him. And they all finally slept like that. Bhavin opened his eyes and yawned widely. Good morning, greeted Charvi cheerfully. About time you woke up, said Faiyaz, throwing a bag at him. Bhavan barely caught it while sitting up. The other two were already dressed and ready to go out. He opened the bag and pulled out a sandwich. "Hey, isn't someone missing?" he asked. At that moment, the room door opened and Aarav entered. "So, what did you find out?" promptly asked Faiyaz. "Indeed, someone got killed last night. Apparently, he'd got in trouble with some gangster, probably owed him money," Aarav explained. "The hotel owner mentioned someone they call the businessman. He's a dangerous guy." "MPHMHHPHMPHM, said Bhavan with his mouth full of bread. "What?" asked Faiyaz. Bhavan swallowed as quickly as he could, almost choking in the process. "Sounds pretty scary, alright," he repeated. "Yeah," Faiyaz agreed. "Sounds like someone with a lot of money and influence. I wouldn't like messing with him." "Anyways," said Aarav, "let's head out." "Are you ready, Bhavan?" Bhavan stuffed his mouth with the rest of his sandwich and ran to the bathroom to change clothes. "Bhavan, don't eat like that," yelled Charvi, concerned. "You're going to." The sound of Bhavan coughing reached them from the bathroom. "There he goes," shrugged Aarav. "He never learns," added Faiyaz. After Bhavan had finished sprucing himself up, they made plans for that day. "So Miss Balakrishnan, an adorable old lady, you guys have to meet her, is visiting her family today, so we won't be able to see the flat and make the final arrangements until the end of the afternoon," Charvi told Faiyaz and Bhavan. "Which gives us time to run our errands in the morning," completed Aarav. "I suppose you've already got the address of the Art Institute," said Faiyaz. Aarav nodded. "We'll be on our way then," Faiyaz decided, but Aarav stopped him. "Hold on." He turned towards Charvi. "What time are we meeting then?" he asked her. Charvi thought for a couple of seconds. We probably won't be available for lunch at the same time, so perhaps it would be better if we ate separately and met here at 4 p.m. She looked at everyone for approval. "Fine by me," said Bhavan. "That way we can stretch our legs a little." The other two men nodded. "But please be punctual. And call if something comes up." "Okay," Charvi urged. "I'll stick with Aarav today, so we'll be fine," Faiyaz said. Aarav nodded. They all looked at Bhavan. "What are all you looking at me for?" "I'll be on time," he said. Charvi held her stare. "Really?" "Yeah, really," he insisted. "I promise," he added, noticing her reluctance. Aarav and Faiyaz went together to the Shyamavali Art Institute, as agreed. It was a quite distinctive structure, more alike to a museum than to an education center. "Look, Aarav," said Faiyaz, pointing at it. "It looks like a bator." Indeed, the big building was oval-shaped and appeared to be very light, with its huge window panes and elegant columns that supported the sides of the structure. "The Bator Art Institute," he yelled. "I'm pretty sure it's not fluffy, though," replied Aarav. A second later, they were both laughing at the comparison. They went in and explored the odd-shaped building, admiring its modern facilities. "I wonder if they serve chole at the canteen," whispered Aarav to Faiyaz, who couldn't keep himself from laughing out loud and drawing everyone's attention. Aarav smirked and kept walking as if he didn't know him. "May I help you?" a girl asked, approaching them. Aarav turned towards her. "Yes, my friend over there wants to become a comedian," he said. Faiyaz ran up to them. "Hold it right there." "An actor," he corrected. "A comedy actor, that's what I said," answered Aarav in his best serious face. Faiyaz glared at him. "That's not what I want to do," he complained. "Oh, but she thinks you're very funny. Don't you?" Aarav directed the last part to the girl, who was trying her best not to giggle. Faiyaz blushed slightly. "Nice to meet you," said Aarav. I'm Aarav, and this is my friend Faiyaz. We are new to the city. I'm Riya. Pleased to meet you, replied the girl, smiling warmly. Ah, so that was a tactic to get attention from girls, thought Faiyaz, still glaring at his friend. So we are artists looking to hone their skills before taking on a professional career, he told the girl, trying to appear charming. I'm an actor, and he's a musician, completed Aarav before his friend tried to get back at him. Oh, so am I, Riya replied, turning towards Aarav. I'm going to the concert hall right now. Would you like to see it? That would be excellent, he replied, returning the smile. The acting school is on the 5th floor, Riya said to Faiyaz. You can get to it using the lift over there. Thank you for helping us, said Aarav politely. I'll pick you up in 2 hours, okay? He told Faiyaz, then focused back on the girl. Shall we? And, before Faiyaz could say anything else, they walked away, leaving him calling Aarav colorful names in his mind. In the meantime, Bhavan had returned to the place he had visited the day before and that had earned him a scolding from his friends, a football club in a costly area of the city. He'd somehow found it online, and he'd just decided to show up without an invitation. The fancy place even had its own stadium. It seemed unlikely they would pay attention to random townsfolk asking to join. A tall security guard stood at the entrance. Hire, Bhavan said, stepping in. The guard blocked his path. Who are you? He asked. What's with the rude attitude? I'm a member, you know. I was admitted yesterday, Bhavan replied. A second guard appeared. What's happening? He asked. This runt says he's a member, the first guard replied. With that look? I doubt it. Sounds more like he's trying to sneak in, the other one said. The two guards grabbed Bhavan by his arms. Do you know what happens to people who try to sneak in? One of them asked with a sinister smile. Hey! Let go. I'm a member, I tell you. Bhavan screamed, alarmed. Easy, boys. He is with me, a voice said from inside. The guards immediately released Bhavan as a mature man approached them. He was dressed in fine clothing and wore a fedora hat and sunglasses over his copious mustache. I'm sorry if they scared you. We have had many intruders lately, the man explained, putting a hand on Bhavan's shoulder and guiding him inside. What? That was nothing, replied Bhavan, pretending to be calm, though his voice had a higher pitch than usual. Are you ready for the tests? The man asked. Bhavan looked back at the creepy security guards before answering. Yes, of course. I'm ready, he said, speeding up. They reached the field, where a few football players were practicing with a trainer. Everyone went silent and turned towards them. Do not mind us, the man said, making a disregarding gesture with his hand. The others turned around and resumed their activities. Wow, people here are severe, aren't they? Bhavan asked. He noticed someone had gotten close to them. You will be working with him today, the fedora man said, gesturing at the stranger, who looked like a trainer. Utkarsh is one of our specialists. He will make a wonderful assessment of your capabilities. I am sure you are naturally very talented, of course, the man told Bhavan, smiling. This is just a routinary evaluation. Come talk to me after you finish. He walked towards a bench and sat down. Sure, Bhavan said, and went away with the trainer. On the other side of the city, Charvi was hoping to find a casting to participate in. Okay, time to start shining, she said to herself optimistically. The registration has already finished, they told her at the first place. We don't need any more participants, they said at the second one. No people without previous experience, said a girl at the third one. Wow, these people are though, Charvi said. But I won't give up. Next, She tried making some phone calls. The first one didn't even pick up. The second one hung up within 30 seconds. Finally, she got to explain her case to someone. Yes. MHM. Oh, I understand, she said, disappointed. She looked tired by now. Okay. This is the last one, she said. She confirmed the address on her phone and stood in front of the entrance of a small building. This place looks kind of weird, but who am I to judge? She murmured, ringing the doorbell. The door opened just enough for a hideous face to look at her from behind it. Say, the person spoke. Charvi wasn't even sure whether it was a man or a woman. Excuse me. Is this where the casting is taking place? She asked in a tentative tone. The casting? Oh, I haven't heard of any castings here. But feel free to come in, the person said, sneering. No, thank you, she quickly said, and fled the scene immediately. After the evaluation was over, Bhavan returned to the side of the elegant, mysterious man. How did you feel? The man asked. It was a piece of cake. Bhavan replied. Hey, but this is some high quality equipment. I had never worn shoes this good, he said, showing off his professional football boots. You come from a small town, do you not? The man inquired. I cannot imagine the effort you must have made to come here. Bhavan shrugged. Everything's good. With my friend's support, we'll all do well. Oh, yes. I remember you mentioned them yesterday. You seem to be very close, the man replied. Well, sometimes they do foolish things, but they are the best, Bhavan sentenced, grinning. The man stared at Bhavan and chuckled. Indeed. If you have chosen them, I am sure they are. Now, do tell me more about these friends of yours. Bhavan didn't notice the ambitious gleam in his eyes, nor the way his lips had curved into an evil smirk as he innocently gave away all the details of his companions.